Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
The ancients believed in the power of dreams. People thought that those who consciously walked in their dreams could achieve physical manifestation, divination, and prophecy. Were the dreamers of the past privy to secrets that we have yet to uncover? Mission Evolution Radio Show is coming to you around the world on the X Zone TV channel, xztv.ca. With us this hour to uncover the power of dreams is Von Braschler. Von is the author of more than a dozen books on metaphysics and consciousness training. He served on the Omega Institute of Holistic Health in New York and won the gold medal for visionary writing in the COVR Annual Book Awards. Von previously worked as an award-winning journalist before working behind the scenes in book publishing and later as a writer. His latest book is entitled Programming Your Lucid Dreams. His website, vonbraschlerwebsite.com. Von, thanks so much for joining us once again on Mission Evolution.
Thank you, Gwilda. Good to be with you.
It's nice to be with you. And I do love the topic of dreams. There's so much there that I think we have yet to discover. So how did you first become interested in metaphysics and consciousness training?
Well, I think it was, I started to acquire a lot of books and do yoga training. And I did a lot of walks in the woods. And I think nature is a great teacher about metaphysics. And then it snowed on my mountaintop in Oregon in 1980. I lived on Mount Hood, next to the mountain that blew up, Mount St. Helens. And after we cleared all the dust off from the summer of that summer, later on it snowed, and it snowed for like 8 days. It totally buried us. I was snowed in. I had no electricity. I had no heat. I had no plumbing. It was all frozen. I had no lights. I would make a candle every day. And then after I'd been there about 3 days and I'd read everything twice, I had a lucid dream. And it was like all lucid dreams, one that you're consciously aware that you're dreaming. And it was profound and it was meaningful. It was impactful. And I woke and I came from the dream completely alert to everything that had happened, aware of everything in my dream. And I had this burning desire to continue with lucid dreaming. And I wondered how a person could, short of an accidental slip into a lucid dream, actually program a lucid dream. And that became my controlling interest. And I read everything. And fortunately, I started reading all my yoga books. And I found out that it was a matter of consciousness training to allow one to go to an altered state of consciousness to enter a lucid dream. And I was successful in that time that I was there. And nothing else, I will say, nothing else seemed to matter. Suddenly, I had plenty of food, I had plenty of heat, I had plenty of lights. Nothing mattered. Even though I couldn't find my car buried in the snow, nothing mattered because I could do lucid dreaming. And since then, I've tried to teach it to different people with some success. And I've studied others who do lucid dreaming effectively and actually set it up. And it seems to me that there's nothing more important than learning to do effective dream work. Nothing.
So why would you consider it so important to learn to do effective dream work?
Yeah, so I mean, there are so many things you can find in your dreams. First of all, you can find yourself. It's a matter of self-discovery. It is the ultimate hero's journey into the inner journey of discovery of oneself. In this dream, you accept the challenge to go forward. You overcome obstacles. You find allies. You confront challenges. You open new doors. You go through a whole arc of a hero's journey, and then you return home from the dream a completely transformed person. Now, the ancients, of course, as you said in the beginning, believed in divination and prophecy. They believed that your dreams were the windows to the soul. And I think this is true because I think it is your inner consciousness or your spirit or perhaps your soul that comes out and it goes forward into this inner journey we call the lucid dream. And in this dream, you are highly aware, you are highly conscious. It is not like any other dream a person might have, in that you will encounter really big questions of personal importance to you in your growth.
So, how common are lucid dreams without training?
Yeah, they're without training. People have them sporadically, and you'll run into people that say, "I've had lucid dreams," or "I think I've had a lucid dream," or "I've had two," and they're very meaningful. If a person's had a lucid dream, they really are aware of it, because they're rare, but they normally happen. Let's say accidentally, like my first dream. Something just triggers you. In my case, I fell on my spine, back on my bed, and I hit the part of the bed, hard part, and it triggered. I won't tell anybody where it is because this is not a good way to set up a dream, but I triggered a part of my spine that actually would launch me into this dream. And it is something that people will normally do when they're extremely relaxed, when the body and mind, the physical mind, are completely at rest, and there is a willingness, an internal holistic harmony within you that allows your physical mind, your brain, to shut down long enough for your inner consciousness to come forward and take you on this great dream of discovery.
So, does being curious about something in your life before you go to sleep, does that sometimes trigger it?
Yes. So my technique is that you actually will use visualization, and you set up an agenda, a visual drawn out, no words, no sounds, but you actually hand draw a pictogram of what you want to dream about and where you want to go. So you actually establish an agenda of what's important to you. And if you don't do this, the odds of having at some point a sporadic, random lucid dream are good, uh, in that your inner spirit will simply take charge and take you there because it knows it needs to get out, explore, learn, and grow. It needs answers.
Does the spirit within, if you will, come out with lucid dreams in order to alert you to something that you may miss otherwise?
Yes, there are many practical applications. You can find lost keys that way. You can do remote viewing this way. You can actually visit people. You can relay messages. You can relive parts of your past that you need to review. You can actually go forward into the future and discover things. Now, we have a large body of people who have effectively learned to do this sort of dream travel. And one of them would be the shamanic dream walkers or spirit walkers. And they will set up a deep trance where they go into an altered state of consciousness. The body becomes very still, very numb, and they tune out all their internal thoughts, sounds, distractions, perceptions, and then they will go on a journey beyond time and space as we know them. They'll go back into the past to discover insights from their ancestors, using their terminology. They would go forward into the future to see what lies ahead for their people. This is an actual function of what we call the shaman, and this crosses many tribal boundaries around the world for indigenous people in the shamanic world, and it is not just the shaman. This is something that in many shamanic situations is taught by the medicine man to other people to do their own personal vision quests. That's what we're talking about, one's personal vision quest.
So the shamanic journey is basically a lucid dream.
I believe it is. And then we have the other example in yoga. We have the example of the dreamer who induces a dream beyond space and time. And this is very common for people who have studied my favorite book, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is essentially a book of learning to understand and control one's consciousness. It starts out physically, and then it goes into metaphysics, and then finally magic. And we're talking about something quite magical, an actual journey beyond space and time. Now, in the shamanic, in the yoga tradition, we have the Samadhi dreamers, and the Samadhi mystics are great advocates of Raja Yoga. They've studied the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali inside and out. They have done all these exercises, these sutras, and I've studied them too, but I've tried to give it more modern, Western, updated language, so that we're not talking in Sanskrit terminology. The Samadhi students, young Samadhi novices, would be taught initially how to control their dreams. They were taught no other kind of dreaming other than lucid dreaming. In the Samadhi novices were taught to become very still, very quiet, put their body and their physical mind to rest, allow their subconscious mind to come forward, and in this altered state of consciousness, have an outward journey of discovery. There's examples that are startling where Samadhi students, even young ones, have gone so deeply into shamanic dreaming that it was they would be gone for a long time, and oblivious to what was around them. I learned this actually could be taught. I did this at the Omega Institute with a group of people.
Well, Vaughn, I'm afraid we're going to have to take a station break. We'll continue with this on the other side. Vaughn and I will return very shortly, so don't go away. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org.
The end has come, the night has fallen.
Can dreams serve as tools? With us discussing programming our dreams is Von Braschler, the author of Programming Your Lucid Dreams. His website, vonbraschlerwebsite.com. Von, what practical uses are there for dreams?
Oh, goodness. When I have a problem that I can't resolve, I of course I take a walk in the woods. I get very quiet. One would say contemplative. I go into a state of meditation, and when I can't come up with the answer, I realize that there's nothing in my physical mind that no frame of reference for me to resolve the question. My analytical self, my brain, has dealt with the problem as best it could, and it's time to go out and explore a greater pool of evidence. That greater pool of evidence is outside of us, not necessarily within us. And that is when I will program a lucid dream to go out and find me answers. And I will then set an agenda. This is my problem. What is my answer? These are the parameters of my problem. What should I be looking for? And I'll sketch it out as best I can. But I always do this, and I must emphasize, not with words or sounds, but with drawings, with pictures. That is now you're dealing on a different level, a more conscious level. In telepathy, we don't use our analytical mind. We're using something quite deeper, and this is the way that I think dreams are best set up. Dreams are best set up when we tune out the 5 physical senses. No sounds, no smells, no touches, no sight. And when we go into a dream then, and we've set up parameters of what we wish to find, we're actually employing another yoga principle, which is creative visualization. Creative visualization is where you actually project what you want to know, to see, to in greater depth, and then you will allow yourself to investigate it. Now, a lot of people think this is wishful thinking, but in true creative visualization, as taught by the yoga mystics for thousands of years, there's a discipline, and we've missed some of the steps. I might have spoken on your program earlier on this, Gwilda, so forgive me if I touch back. But in true creative visualization form, which is so important to lucid dreaming, you need to actually have different steps involved. You actually will set up, what you actually establish what it is you're going to visualize.
So let me
Yeah,
back up a little bit. You said it's not in the brain. So
no.
where exactly does creative visualization and this sort of thing reside?
Oh, thank you. Creative visualization. So here it is. Your consciousness exists in a non-physical realm. Your consciousness is just as your energy, your life force is. In yoga terms, it's a Shakti in with this energy and light, and well, your consciousness exists all around your totality, not just in your physical self. We tend to think of it as deep within us, but you must think of the human self as like multi-layered. Now, this is just a term we use. People take this so figuratively, and they take it so precisely to say that the chakra goes up and down your spine like a ruler. They think of like the subtle bodies that we have, our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, our causal body, our spiritual bodies, as all like luminous light bodies that exist outside of us in layers like an onion. But we must stop thinking in terms that are linear and physical. This is non-physical. Your consciousness is energized, or to put it otherwise, you have energized consciousness, and all living things are born with energized consciousness. But very few of us ever learn to develop it and utilize it. This is what I've been trying to do, and going through this ancient book, Yoga Sutras. It gives me all of the sutras that I need to understand what is visualization and how to set it up. You
So
must,
if we um, dreams, as far as I understand them, the language is oftentimes allegorical, metaphorical, right?
That's right.
How do we know that we're getting the right translation? And how can we trust the information if it could be so esoteric, if you will?
Well, when we think of like allegorical dreams, a lot of times these are dreams of the human memory. These are dreams that your analytical brain is trying to develop, and you say, "Well, what did the bird mean to tell me, or what is the meaning of the otter?" And we try to think of like, oh well, as Freud said, what does a cigar really signify? Maybe it's just a cigar. So I think that to answer your question, the best interpreter of a real dream, a significant dream, a lucid dream that is meaningful and impactful and conscious uh, and true is you. And you must meditate on the meaning of it when you come from the dream to analyze what it is. And maybe it's not symbolic, maybe it's not allegorical, maybe it's very, very, very concrete what it's telling you, um, and not told in riddles.
So, how long does it take to master this translation? Because it's pretty new to everybody, I would
It,
think, that
it,
hasn't
it,
been trained.
it could happen so quickly. In my case, I learned in January of 1980. And once I had my lucid dream, and then I started studying how to reach another level of consciousness to set it up, how to actually enter the dream portal effectively. Then I learned to tune out the outer distractions to go into a deep meditative state, which could also be reached through self hypnosis. I have that kind of approach as well. Then I learned that I could do it rather quickly, and so in my case, it only took a couple of days. I mean, like it took a week or less. You
Well,
know,
we've been talking about dreams here, and you mentioned the ones that are just kind of your garden variety. That's your
yeah.
brain trying to figure stuff out and process things, and then the lucid dream. Are there other kinds of dreams?
The common dream that people will routinely have, often called night sweats or night or restless dreams, is where you you haven't really put the body and mind to rest. You maybe you're reclining in your normal sleep period, and you're in your bed, and you think you're relaxed, but your brain, your analytical mind, will not tune out the concerns that are driving you mad, and it continues to do what it considers its important job, which is running your life. It's trying to analyze your questions, your concerns, your problems, and it just keeps grinding away. And these are really kind of unsettling, because the analytical mind then, in a restless dream where you're not, you know, fully asleep and your mind continues to dwell on these problems, is dealing with it in a kind of a sleepy way, and it begins to kind of dress it up. It's kind of like sleepwalking, and you will take different approaches to the problem in this kind of sleepy mode, where the mind is like half turned on and half turned off. These are
But
really
but when
dangerous situations.
but when you're in that mode, you're not really in a lucid dream per se. So
No,
you're getting
no,
all your information from within. So
yeah,
there's nothing new. Is that?
no, no. So the problem is, and this is helpful to determine whether you're really in a lucid dream. Are you dreaming of things from your memory that are simply of your memory and nothing new? There's no new characters, no new setting, no new insight, no new locale. And are you simply reliving old memories within you and trying to play it over and try to discover something new. This is what the analytical mind does. It just keeps rolling these things over and over, thinking it's gonna engage somewhere and find something new. Um, there's a real difference between the common dream, which can be rather nightmarish because they're unresolved, they're frustrating, and a truly insightful lucid dream, which is vivid and colorful and impactful and full of meaning.
So where do daydreams fit in here? I mean, there's
Yeah,
been lots of reports, and I've seen it myself, where a person will be kind of sitting there daydreaming or driving along daydreaming, and suddenly something they were daydreaming about comes to manifest, like a truck pulling out in front
yeah,
of them or
yeah.
something.
So I think this is important to recognize that you can actually, in a daydream, experience a lucid dream. That is to say, if you're really relaxed and you're tuning off your analytical mind and allowing your inner consciousness to explore, it can reach out and find something for you. And so we see that a lucid dream doesn't have to be induced in a sleep cycle in your bed. It could be lying on a mat, you know. It could be on a sofa. It could be sitting in a chair. It could be daydreaming. I've had lucid dreams walking, which can be a bit, unsettling because you shouldn't be walking around it dreaming, but it can happen most any time. It can happen most any time when your inner spirit determines that it needs to leave and find some information for you.
So the daydream can be very useful as a lucid dream if you recognize that's where you're going.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is probably explains the deja vu experience to some degree too, which
Mm.
is very much like a daydream dream that suddenly you say, "Whoa."
Well, we're going to have another daydream on the other side of a station break. Vaughn and I will be right back to continue our discussion. So stay right there. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org.
I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. I've been broken, shattered, cast to the wind. I am scattered upon the wind. I've been broken.
Can dreams mean more than one thing? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. With us discussing lucid dreaming is Von Braschler. His website, vonbraschlerwebsite.com. Von, do dreams come in layers? I mean, you say
Yes.
we interpret a dream, but does the meaning deepen as our understanding?
Yes, and that's why, I always try to get people to have recurring dreams and continuation dreams. And why it's important to like meditate on the dream when you return from the dream, and then after you've done that, to get up and just sketch the outline of what you've seen and where you've been in a dream journal without analysis, because then you have a log of what you've dreamed and you have a point of departure, so you can actually set up and program to go into that dream again, to continue it and actually
Is is
expand on it.
is it important to not try to interpret a dream kind of when you're in the middle of it,
Yeah,
but rather to document first? And if so, why?
yeah. I think it's really important that you don't try to analyze the dream in the normal way that we analyze things, because we must think that the part of us that is our a tool of analysis is our analytical mind. and it likes to like digest everything based on its frame of reference, and it looks into its memory bank and it tries to find a fit, and it says, oh, there it is, size 11B, and that's it, and it doesn't allow for anything new. So I always advocate that people will return from a dream and quietly remain in position, eyes closed, still, and don't get too active. Just allow the dream to wash over them. Just relive the dream and then absorb the dream. And I think it's important that you take the dream inside you, and you internalize the dream, and then you become the dream, and then you own the dream. This dream belongs to your inner self. Your analytical mind has no way of processing it because it really wasn't there. It didn't originate the dream. It can't analyze the dream. So what you do then, you allow your inner self, your inner consciousness, to absorb the dream upon reentry from the dream, and then you let it wash over it. And it doesn't matter that you don't think you've understood the dream, because on a very deep level you have. It's just that your outer analytical mind isn't satisfied that it hasn't broken it down into how much it weighs and how long it is. This is the way it does everything.
So
So
if we're trying to find that inner self to run the dream by, our default is going mental. How
no,
does a person do that?
no. You have to work very hard to establish a new level of harmony, inner body harmony. We talk about the holistic body, mind, and spirit. This is a case where body and mind must allow spirit to come forward, while body and mind rests. So there needs to be some inner harmony as to what's going to take place. You must convince yourself, and this is why I think with a lot of people, meditation might not be the answer, but self hypnosis is the answer. Is that you convince your mind that it's going to be safe and rested. It's going to have the best rest it's ever had, and it's going to be totally rested and safe during this dream escape you're going on. And you must simply allow it to shut down for a moment, stop analyzing, stop smelling and hearing, and all of this, perception that goes on. Tune out the physical overload, and then allow your inner consciousness, your super consciousness, to come forward and take you somewhere. And it will know where to go. It will know where to take you.
Do people that have had a lot of trauma, and so they're hyper vigilant, the mind's always working, this sort of thing, and that's a lot of us, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Do you have to process some of this stuff before you can enter that state you're talking about?
You need to resolve it. You need to actually convince your mind, your physical mind, that it's going to be a helpful process, that it won't be a dangerous process. Its main concern is your safety. It needs to know that you're in a safe place when you dream. That's why Samadhi dreamers in the East will have people watching over their bodies, so that they know that they're safe and protected. This is a great concern to our mind. But most people allow our minds to run, I would say, too much of ourselves, and it's a very limiting thing. It becomes the gatekeeper.
Can dreams, particularly lucid ones, be overwhelming for people that aren't prepared for them or understand what's going on?
It could be very powerful. It can be, I would not say overwhelming. It won't be frightening, but it will be very revealing. It will be startling in some cases, what you learn. And you'll know right away whether it's true and it's real, because you'll just have this sensation. Your inner consciousness knows how to sort this out.
So for our listeners, um, how can, I'm sure this question is up, how can one tell they're in a lucid dream versus a garden variety?
Yeah. So when you're in a lucid dream, it's always good to like orient yourself um, to determine whether you're in a lucid dream. You examine your own presence there, which is non-physical, but it might have a sensation that you have a form, not a physical form, but a form, and you need to look around you and orient yourself that you're there, convince yourself that you're really there. There will be, with every true lucid dream, there will be a certain amount of conscious awareness of being in the dream, and a high state of awareness as to all that you see, um, with a great keenness as to everything you observe. Everything will be crystal clear. Everything will be vivid. Um, uh, Most importantly, you're conscious that you're having the dream and that you're consciously aware of being in the dream.
Can a person set up a dream in such a way that they can actually manifest something they desire into ordinary reality?
Yes, this is why I think creative visualization is so important. And to get back to it, I think that the part that people always miss is that you actually see what you want to create, and you focus on what you want to create, and you concentrate on what you want to create. And you do this on a very deep level. It's not something inside your analytical mind. Once again, it's your super consciousness, and you actually visualize achieving it and attaining it. This is important. People always leave out this important step. If you don't actually visualize attaining it, you're not likely to attain it.
But when you visualize attaining it, are you limiting the way it can happen by being too specific?
No, you want to be very vague as to how you attain it. You just have the sense of attaining it. You don't actually picture how you're going to attain it.
So if our dreams are within us, but we're talking about manifesting something without of us, how does it get from one place to the other?
Say again, please.
So if our dreams are pretty much within us,
Hmm.
but we're trying to manifest through a dream into the ordinary world, what's the mechanism by which that dream manifests in the ordinary world?
Oh, I find that things that I've actually encountered in a lucid dream will actually begin to creep into my physical world as they're visualized and manifested. Let me give you an example. When I first was on Mount Hood and beginning to experiment with programming and setting up lucid dreams, I was having some success, but I was having some without anyone to talk to about this, without knowing anyone who's ever been able to relay how to do it, what it's like. I had some trepidation as to how safe it was and how I would negotiate once I entered the lucid dream, how I would get somewhere, how I would get back from somewhere, and where I would go. I mean, these seem like kind of like crazy questions, but anyone who goes on a journey of any sort wants some trip planning, right? How am I going to get there, and what am I going to see, and how do I get back? So 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 I visualized and manifested a dream assistant, a guide, a helper, and my dream teacher, I called her my dream teacher. I pictured what she would look like and how she would come and help me. And lo and behold, one night when I'm floating above my cabin on Mount Hood, a hand reaches out and takes me. And lo and behold, it's actually, you know, who I had visualized. So she, this person actually became a part of my physical realm also. She would pop in and out of my life in my daily physical existence. She would be there at key moments for me, briefly, a
Now,
period.
do you mean physical form or just pop into your imagination or your mind's
Y-
eye?
Oh, I had witnesses saw her, and I could get them on the show, and they could tell you that she was there, but that she would be there briefly while I was doing something. I was doing a lot of Kirlian photography, and as I was developing film in the darkroom one day, she appeared. She reached over and looked in my developing tray and smiled at me. And I turned to my two friends in the room and I said, "Did you see her?" I said, "Describe her." And they saw her, you know. And there was one other time at work that she appeared when I was working and people saw her briefly. I mean, she would pop in and pop out. Now, this sounds kind of amazing if you've never actually visualized and manifested things in a dream state. But I think people who have done lucid dreaming probably realize that the things you find in a lucid dream, while maybe not present in your regular physical world, will eventually appear in your physical world.
It's time for us to take another station break. Please stay with us as Vaughn and I continue to explore the dreamscape. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org.
Brilliant feathers of an unearthly hue glide by on the edge of his dream. A whisper of touch, an unheard song. Those vertex
Can dreams be used to time travel? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Von Braschler. His website, vonbraschlerwebsite.com. Von, I know we touched in on it before, but this is a fascinating topic, I believe. So, can we choose a time and a place to visit our dreams, even outside of normal space and time, like visiting a past event or even a past life?
Yes. Well, you think of how dreams are used in psychoanalysis, right? And this is asking people to go back and remember their childhood. So I remember, I remember reading about different people who would do this sort of work, and they would ask people to go back as far as they could, and some of them were going back into previous lives, and it's like, oh my gosh, and it's like it when you reach a point where you can actually travel like this in a lucid dream, you realize that there is no fixed time and space other than in our physical reality. So if you're leaving in a non-physical body, which is your energized consciousness, all bets are off, and I think it's very helpful to go back and explore the past. I mean, I tried to explore my past lives, and it makes some sense as to why I'm here and what I'm trying to do. I see that life is a long, long journey of discovery. And
If we if we go to a specific location in a lucid dream,
yeah.
is part of us actually present at that location?
Yes, yes. So what is there is your subtle energy bodies. You have consciousness, energized consciousness, residing on all of these energy bodies. Your mental body, your astral body, your causal body, your spiritual bodies. All of these non-physical aspects of you connect you to other planes of reality. And they're just as real as this physical plane. Most people don't go there. You
So
know,
if you are there, like you say, in your astral body, can other people possibly perceive you like your friends were perceiving your spirit helper, your dream helper?
yeah. See, so this is what happens is that that there will be other people there. There'll be other spirits there, people or helpers or guides or whatever. Some are supernatural and some are just like you or me having a dream and we're bumping into each other. You can actually have a dream buddy. You can do shared dreaming with somebody, setting up the when you're going to dream and what you're going to dream about, and doing it simultaneously. Helps to be in the same room. Helps if you're close to that person. Helps if you set it up exactly the same with them parameters. But yes, you're going to actually confront people. And the beauty is that there's a vast realms of information and other worlds to be discovered and mined for information and insight other than this one.
If we go backwards in our dreams, is there a way to leave messages or even healing for our present self?
So this is one of the practical solutions for me. If I'm sick, I always go to a special healing place, and it's a dreamscape that I've set up, and it's a place of comfort. It's my personal safe space. It is a special place for me. It is a sacred space for Vaughn, and there's a sacred space for Gwilda and for every one of us. You need to actually set up the parameters, and you visualize what it is, and you go there. You set it up, and you go there again and again and again. Whether you're physically ill, mentally ill, spiritually ill, emotionally upset, it doesn't matter. You go there, whether you're simply distressed or quite ill, you go there and you can become rejuvenated, re-energized. How does this happen? Well, we heal ourselves, because when our energized consciousness leaves on and taking on our subtle bodies then arrive fully conscious and energized to this site, and it has a lot of power. It has a lot of insight. It has a lot of energy, and it can heal you. You can heal yourself outside yourself.
If we go forward in time, do the dreams serve as a foretelling?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and they can be frightening, because once again, this is something you have. It there's no possible frame of reference for what you're going to see, and you might not be there yourself. There might be no you there, but your consciousness can go there and discover what it is, um, and see what the future holds. Now, is this written in stone? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in things are predestined in that sense. I think if you look at the Akashic record, I think you can if you do it honestly, you see that there's the energy in play that allows for different probability of things to happen. So the future is not completely written, but there's a tendency how things will likely go.
If you have gone forward in time, or, is this the basis between a lot of our prophecies that have been passed down through the
Yeah,
ages?
yeah, yeah. So you see, all the way from ancient Mesopotamia and Babylonia and Egypt and Greece and Rome, you see these ancient civilizations where they did active dream work. And they believed in lucid dreaming much more than we do in our culture. They actually believed that they could go there and learn the future and speak, have divine connections in their dreams, and they could heal themselves in their dreams. They could learn the future. Well, dreams of prophecy, every once in a while, someone will say, "Oh, I knew that flight 737 was going to crash tomorrow," and it did, and different people will have dreams of prophecy, and they turn out to be true. Well, obviously, they got good information somewhere. These are dreams of the future.
So a lot of the prophecies are really kind of pointing to right now.
Yeah,
And what do you make of that? And have you gotten any dream information on it?
I have, and it's it's going to be very different. It's going to be a different world ahead of us. It's going to be a denser world. It will be, I want to say crystalline. I have dreams of crystals falling. I have dreams of things shattering and getting very dense. There's going to be, and I don't know, this could be very far into the future, but I think that there's going to be a new alignment of how things are assembled. It's going to be a different components. Things, nothing stays the same. I mean, we know this. Um, the nature of reality is that things are in constant state of change. We must recognize that change is important, and embrace the change.
So, how can active dream work help us achieve personal goals and find answer to our deepest questions?
So you want to think about what your questions are. See, first of all, and then your inner need, things you really want resolved in your life. This is important. And then you do a needs assessment. And the need assessment is not what you need materially, but what you need spiritually to go forward, thinking of life as a long journey, and not just 60, 70, 80, 90 years of paying the rent and buying groceries. It is an ongoing period of discovery and growth, towards some end, and then so I think you need to do a deep needs assessment of a spiritual nature. This requires some meditation. This requires getting deep inside you and finding real answers and real questions. And in this case, the questions are more important than the answer, because you need the questions in order to find the answer. Once you do your need assessment on a spiritual level, then you can start building your agenda. You start visualizing where you want to go, what you want to see, and what you want to discover. And you don't have to be specific. You need to have a general idea of the direction you need to go, and what does your inner spirit lack to fulfill its destiny.
That doesn't sound like it's going to support my getting a lucid dream to win the lottery.
No, this is a very small dream. You think of the millions you can get in the lottery, but it just it's very small in comparison to the big picture.
Is it not the illusion?
It's an illusion. Yeah. Everything material is an illusion, because everything material is energy in a state of flux. It won't be it won't be physical and material for long.
Well, Vaughn, it's about that time for me to ask you, what's your mission?
Oh, my mission. My mission is to be on your radio show, Gwilda, and talk to people. This is the only reason I do any of this. It's the reason why I love being at the Omega Institute. Well, the reason I love to do uh, workshops. I think that the places you can go, once you discover the ability to travel in this way, it's a huge opportunity.
Do you think is life changing for people?
Life is, yes, ever changing for people. We're in a state of change.
Well, it'd be boring otherwise, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Vaughn, we are unfortunately out of time. I
Yeah.
can't thank you enough for coming on the show again.
Thank you, Gwilda.
My pleasure. Our guest this hour has been Vaughn Braschler. Vaughn is the author of more than a dozen books on metaphysics and consciousness training. His latest, Programming Your Lucid Dreams. To find out more about Vaughn, where you can find his many books and all he has to offer, visit his website, vaughnbraschlerwebsite.com. This has been Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyaka. For more information or to enjoy past archived episodes, visit missionevolution.org. But please be sure to join us right again next time on the Exxon TV channel, where this mission will continue, bringing information, resources, and support to our evolving world.